I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm excellent. Thanks for asking. First thing I got to ask you, you were supposed to face Matt Mitrione. Instead, you got Jack May. That's a guy that you have a little bit of history with. How satisfying is it to face Jack May and you can kind of close that chapter out?
I was looking forward to Matt. Obviously, it's a bigger name, bigger opponent. But being able to get this one, run this one back is a very satisfying for me.
Now, is the plan to, get this one over quickly and then face Matt next? Is that the plan?
I'm not the matchmaker, so I don't really that's not really my job. I'll just fight whoever they ask me to. But I honestly, looking at the rankings now, no, I don't want to fight Matt.
Okay. Last question, because I know we got other people on. Do you still follow the sport of wrestling? On wrestling, I'm talking about, the NCAAs, the Olympics, all that.
Yes, I do. I'm actually flying straight from here to Texas to watch the finals.
Oh, excellent. The reason why I asked you that, so that's perfect because you're going to be in the arena. I think about a guy like Gabriel Stevenson, who I'm sure he's talking about when he's done wrestling, going to WWF. That was a very similar situation that you were in. How do you convince a guy like him or just any of these wrestlers who might be ending their careers this weekend to jump over to MMA instead?
I mean, I think it's all about your personality and what you're looking forward to. Obviously, if he wants to go to WWE, then he's looking at more of acting, not really trying to get in too much violence. You know what I mean? That might not just be his cup of tea to get punched in the face. So I think it's just all about how you look at the sport and really just the physical activity you want to put into it. That's WWE's acting, essentially. You know what I mean? You work out. It's a hard workout. I'm not taking anything away from those guys. They do train their asses off, but it's not the same thing as this. You know what I mean?
Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Simon
Merrill behind the grind. Mr. Tyrell Fortune, how are you today, my friend?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. So I have two questions for you here. You and your brother are both ranked in your respective divisions. What were the emotions of you both being ranked?
I mean, it's very satisfying for a little bit. You know what I mean? It's just like the beginning of, where you want to start off at with your brother, just being ranked in the top 10, but it's not the final goal, So it's just a little bit more motivating to keep pushing and get to the top.
So when we spoke a little while ago, you said you wanted to be just outside the top 10. I guess, were you happy where you were in your ranking?
I guess really too, when we spoke, I hadn't really looked at the roster too much. So I didn't really put in account like where everybody was at. So now looking at it makes a lot of sense where I'm at. But yeah, I'd say I'm fine with where I was ranked.
And this last one I have for you here, how do you match up with the heavyweights above you in the rankings?
I think I can dominate every single one of them.
Chris?
Hey, Tyrell. Chris Mancuso, Tarpsoft Sports. I have a question here. I know you're not the matchmaker, but you look at the guys ahead of you and other fighters in the heavyweight division. Czech Congo, Fado. Any other guys? Like, what guys like that interest you the most here coming forward?
Valentin Modovsky.
Modovsky? Okay. That's everything, my man. Have a good one and best of luck.
Thank you. You too.
Tony?
Tyrell, hope you're well.
Can't understand you.
I had a couple of releases from another promotion, most recently Junior Dos Santos and Alistair Overeem. Would you like to match up with either of those guys?
I can't understand them.
Could you repeat that question, Tony?
Yeah, sorry. I was just saying, we've recently seen Junior Dos Santos and Alistair Overeem leave the UFC. And I read in a recent article you'd shown some interest in fighting either of those guys. Is there a preference as to who you'd rather fight out of both of them?
Out of those two, I'd rather pick a Junior Dos Santos. I think he has a bigger name. I think his stand-up is a little bit more resounding than Alistair Overeem, and it looks like he has a little bit more in the tank than what Alistair's been showing in his last few fights. But either one of them would be an honor to step in the cage with.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Donna?
Hey, Tyrell. When you saw that the champion of your division had gone off to pursue a tournament in a separate weight class, did that piss you off at all? That he could potentially be out of action for, we've seen how long this featherweight tournament's gone on. It could be a year and a half, 2 years.
No, doesn't bother me at all. That got nothing to do with me. That's his career choice.
Do you believe that when he comes back, you will have done enough to maybe be in contention to fight for that heavyweight title?
100%.
All right, thank you very much.
James McDonough.
Hi, Tyrell. This is James from Strictly MMA. Just have one question for you. You've already been in the cage with Jack May, so you've gotten a feel for it. The fight was looking like it was going your way the first time. Now with that experience, do you have a prediction, like a vision of how you see this fight playing out on Friday night?
Violently. That's really about it. I mean, this guy, he had been starting to talk shit to me since my last fight when I fought Saeed Soma. And so he was just trying to get back in the cage with me for a while, I guess. And so no, I mean, he's actually motivated me to fight him. So I could say I'm looking forward to getting in the cage again with him.
Steven.
Hey, Tyrell. So you said that you looked at the rankings and your feelings about rebooking that fight with Mitrione changed. Well, I guess, were you surprised when, they came out and you were 2 spots ahead of him?
No, not really. I wasn't surprised. I just, I don't know what the people are taking into account when they're doing these rankings. And I think I'm a lot harder judge on myself than most people are. So for me, it was just, I guess I was just being a harder judge on myself than most people are. So I just wanted to, I guess, try to be more realistic with it after I started to look at the roster and look where everybody was placed. It started to make more sense.
I mean, I know you're a slightly biased source, but would you put yourself at number 6?
Yeah, I think number 6 is a good spot. I mean, I haven't been the guys that are in front of me. I haven't fought yet, most of them. So the only guy I fought was Tim Johnson. I lost, so it makes sense for me to at least be behind him. And everybody else that's in front of me has been doing really well. And so no, I think it makes sense to put me where I'm at.
From watching your career and from what you've said in the past, it seems like getting ranked opposition has been part of the big problem for your career, no?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, like getting those big name fights is going to get you to the next level in your career. Would you agree that that's been an issue?
Yes, 100%. And
so
see, having the rankings does put it in a better perspective, and it does give me a clear sight of who I want to fight next and who to target after.
So if it's not Mitrione and you beat if you win on Friday, who would you like to fight?
Valentin Moldavsky.
And why him in particular?
He's number 3, so he's in front of me, so he takes me one step closer to getting to the belt.
Do you like the style matchup?
100%. I think I'm a good style matchup against anybody in front of me.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Nate.
Yes, sir. I've seen that you've recently gotten back into snowboarding, and you said how important it is to have other hobbies to keep your mind off of fighting. And I was just curious how that has helped your mentality going into this fight.
Man, it was just some time to release and get away and, not be so absorbed in the sport. I think you lose sight of, life itself when you constantly fighting, constantly training, and you don't really give yourself time for anything else. And it's just hard, when you're training all the time, you're worried about getting injured from doing anything. So when you have that time off, you can go have some fun. It's nice to just give your mind and body a break.
Awesome. And then I was also on your Instagram and I saw the Kobe tribute tattoo that you have.
Yes, sir.
And I was just wondering if you could maybe explain how the Mamba mentality has influenced you, not only in your MMA career, but just in life overall, and how big of an impact he had on you.
I mean, Kobe was probably one of the hardest workers we know in my generation. So I think just that mentality of just always willing to put that extra work in and never making excuses to get up and get it done is always pushed me just growing up as a kid. I always wanted to be the best at whatever I'd done, whether it was tic-tac-toe, hopscotch, rock, paper, scissors. I wanted to be the best. So I think that mentality just carries you and pushes you continuously to just always strive to be better.
All right, we'll take 1 or 2 more here. Jonah.
Hey, Tyrell. Jonah Ross here from Behind the Grind. We've seen lately fighters, mainly wrestlers, that fall in love with throwing their hands rather than, relying on the game plan that got them there. What are your thoughts on guys that do this and, fall short?
I mean, you got to be willing to take a risk. I mean, this isn't wrestling anymore. So you got to be well-rounded. Eventually, you're going to find somebody who's going to be able to stuff, touch, takedowns, and wrestle just like you. So what are you going to do when that happens, when you can't get a takedown? You're going to have to fight. And if you haven't developed the skills and you aren't confident in your hands, then it's not going to be a good night for you. So I think I think every wrestler should take that chance and risk to get their hands better and focus on the boxing, because I've been wrestling since I was in the 3rd grade. I think it would be hard for anybody to really out wrestle me in the sport of MMA, because no one has the accolades I do in wrestling in the sport. So for me, it's just more of being more of a well-rounded MMA fighter. This isn't wrestling anymore. You gotta learn how to fight.
Last one, Ronald.
Errol, man, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Man, I can't complain. And man, you've been in Bellator since 2016 through your growth, and now you look now at 2021. If you could look back at that Tyrell back then, what could you say has changed from that moment?
The knowledge that I've obtained and the experience. I mean, the things that I've went through just through these last 4 years have been really good for me in a way. You know, I had an injury, 2 surgeries that I was out for a whole 11 months and couldn't train. I got knocked out for the first time in my life. That really was a big wave for me. It carried on for a little bit, that more than I expected, but it was a good mental challenge for me to just get past that and work through that. And so it's just a lot of things that you learn about yourself and growth within the sport that I think that, you know, the Tyrell at first coming into the sport, I had no idea that this sport would present those challenges and, you know, would be that much work for me. But no, I think I love where I've ended up now in the last 4 years since I've started.
All right. Thanks for the time, Tyrell. Good luck this week.
Thank you.